SWX Nonstop Local pregame coverage of Brawl 2.0 is sponsored by Brett Harris Insurance Agency and Warriors Quiet Water.
Another brawl in the wild. Are you ready for the big show?
Since 1897, this rivalry of champions has tossed the trophy back and forth in unprecedented
Officially Brawl of the Wild times 2.
circumstances, families divided, emotions running high between the Cats and the Grizzlies. Are here making history. We'll have to wait and see who'll end up in Tennessee. Will it be the Cats or the Grizzlies?
Hey Montana, you ready for some football?
Now, here's the SWX Nonstop Local team.
The lovely and talented Stephanie Quayle welcoming you in. Happy Friday, everyone. Brawl the Wild 2.0 in the very snowy Gallatin Valley as number 3 Montana taking on number 2 Montana State. It is all on the line tomorrow, 2 o'clock here in Bobcat Stadium. Ben Wyman alongside Sean Rainey, Dominic Delfidio getting you ready for the next 30 minutes, going 360 coverage as we are very excited for, not hyperbole, the biggest sporting matchup the Treasure State has seen in its 136-year history. How about that one, Sean Rainey?
Oh, ready to go. Not going to lie, though. We've been talking about this all day. Wake up in the morning. This is third show of the day. I'm ready for some football by now, but hey, we still got some more talking to do. We got some more stories to bring you, more analysis, breaking everything down, telling you everything you need to know about the Brawl of the Wild 2.0.
Yeah, just one more sleep until we find out who's going to Nashville. And for one of these fan bases, they're going to be on the doorstep of ending a long championship drought, right? For Montana, 2001, Montana State, 1984. And both of these programs have been so close in recent history, right? One of these teams is bound to break through here in the near future.
A heavy favorite, potentially the winner in Nashville. Let's talk about it. That matchup I mentioned, number 3 Montana, the Grizzlies, hoping to look for their first road win in Bozeman since the Obama administration. That's how long it has been for the Grizzlies of Missoula. They're, of course, here in Bozeman tomorrow, taking on number 2 Montana State, the Big Sky Conference champs. They earned a home field advantage about a month ago when they went into Missoula and beat the Grizzlies, winning the Big Sky title. So that is why we are here in Bozeman. We'll talk about the importance of home field coming up in just a few minutes. And breaking down this game from all angles, as the only way we know how to do here on Nonstop Local, with the 2 best in the business. Before we get to the game, though, it might look like we're in for a snow game tomorrow. Might look like we're going to be playing in a
Tundra.
A tundra. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Not so fast, because we're eventually getting rain, or excuse me, not rain. We're getting sun tomorrow. But this morning, guys, it was extremely windy. Take a look at this. This is me. I was not on the show this morning because I was running like an offensive lineman, making sure that the Bobcat cheerleaders' cars were not hit by these porta potties. The porta potties and the dumpsters you see right there were getting literally picked up and moved across the parking lot outside of Bobcat Stadium. That's how powerful the wind was this morning in the Gallatin Valley. Thankfully, everyone is safe, except we did have one. We did have one.
Well, and thankfully nobody was in the porta potty.
Right.
But yeah, there was a dumpster that kind of just flew by, T-boned a car. The wind was crazy, but look, it's calm now. The snow has stopped.
Yeah, Kyrie Leasing joining us in the studio. And Kyrie, I think Cats and Grizz fans are going to be very excited to see this forecast.
Yes, they absolutely are. Although we are having a winter storm alert in these areas, particularly in these right by Kalispell and in the Livingston area. We saw a little bit of that in Bozeman. As you can see, there was some snow on the ground, but that's ending Saturday morning, just ready for the Brawl, which is super exciting. But I just want you to know some road conditions, especially as you're heading to the Brawl. Especially in this around Bozeman area, we're seeing a lot of slippery road conditions. Here's a little closer look at Homestake Pass. We're seeing a lot of snow on those streets. In that Livingston area, it's not as much snow, but it is rain, so it's going to make a lot of those conditions a lot more slippery. And then here's that Rogers Pass. As you can see, it's a lot of slush, a lot of snow. So we just want to make sure that you get there safely. But right now, here the temperatures are staying at around 30s to 20s, and that's going to be a little bit colder as we get into the rest of the forecast. But I will have your Brawl of the Wild forecast, all that and more after the break.
It's a good tease there, Kyrie. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. We have been in the Gallatin Valley now for over a day now. Dominic Delfidio, you're the host. Thank you, by the way. You're doing a great job. Appreciate the hospitality. What do you think the vibe has been like talking to folks around the town, the people we've interacted with the last 24 hours?
Yeah, they're nervous, they're excited, they're anxious. It's all the emotions, right? I mean, what's at stake? In-state rival coming into town, season on the line, national championship on the line. I mean, these folks, they're ready for this game to be taking place. And, if things don't go in the way of for Montana State, it's going to be a very long winter, very long spring, and maybe even a very long summer for the Bobcat fan base. And I'm sure on the Montana side of things, the fans are just as anxious and nervous.
You know what? I'm going to use a little analogy here. I have two boys, ages 10 and 8. Okay. The one thing that makes them more upset than anything is when their sibling gets something and they don't get it. And that's kind of the case here. Whoever wins this game, you get a chance to go to Nashville, and you get a chance for a national championship trophy, and you don't get it. And that is the worst thing in the world. And so I think a lot of fan bases, both of them, are a little nervous about being that sibling that is left out.
And speaking of siblings, both these rosters are filled with brother combinations, two in particular. And earlier this week, a pair of brothers wearing maroon and silver and a pair of brothers wearing blue and gold came together to just sign jerseys. A simple act that is going to do wonders for the entire kids trying to go to college here in the state of Montana, and also honoring one young woman whose light is still going 2 years later.
Live like D. It's been a rallying cry for the last 2 years for the community of Manhattan, Montana. For Mark Doherty, losing his daughter Delaney to a head-on car crash 2 years ago, it's been making something good out of something bad, keeping his daughter's light alive and helping put other Montana kiddos through college.
We give out scholarships to local high school kids, so kids in this area of Manhattan, Montana, and then we're expanding into my hometown of Butte this next year as well. So as we grow, we're trying to expand more and give out more scholarships. We've given out about $25,000 in the last 2 years, so we've been pretty blessed and fortunate to do that.
Last year, during the Bobcats' incredible run to the national title game, Tommy Malott heard about Delaney's story and donated a signed Bobcat jersey to be auctioned off for the foundation.
And that jersey, all by itself, created quite a bidding war and raised like over $5,000 for the foundation. So my thoughts went to people love their Cats players and their Grizz players. Who else is out there that maybe we could try to get a jersey?
Dawn Gilman, mother of Eli and Monty, immediately jumped in to help this year and get her two talented boys on board.
I was overwhelmed with emotion when you see a family that has to still get up in the morning and still do life without their light, their daughter that's here. And so it was very emotional as I get to see my kids have find success on the football field, and, they're still here and they can talk to me. And I was like, it's the least we could do to help support them and their legacy. They're paying it forward. It's beautiful.
But the generosity didn't stop there.
Caden Dowler, another interception for Dowler.
Because there was another set of brothers on the other side of the divide who wear blue and gold, and they wanted to join in. Mark's best friend, Foundation board member, and Cat fan Nick Newgard jumped in to help. And through the Bobcat Collective, the Billings boys, Taco and Caden Dowler, also signed jerseys and donated them for Delaney's foundation, showing that sometimes, through this Cat-Grizz rivalry, we are all Montanans, helping Montanans.
And I've just seen a lot of comments and heard from a lot of people who are admittedly self-aware that they get a little bit too much about the football in a week like this too, and how much good can come from when two people get aligned or two groups get aligned for something bigger than football.
Young men doing amazing things on and off the field that help shed kind of our foundation's mission. We always say Delaney shed such a light, spread such a joy and a light to people. This allows her light to kind of shine on, which is really good for my heart too. So
Four pretty special young men right there wearing their opposing team's colors. And, of course, if you would like to donate to the Delaney Doherty Foundation or you'd like to bid on those really cool jerseys signed by Taco and Caden or Monty and Eli, you can head to our website, nonstoplocal.com. We have all the information up there right now. Just a nice reminder, folks, as we kind of raise the intensity, we raise the passion. A lot is on the line, of course, tomorrow. We're all Montanans in the end. Okay. So, moving on now. Let's talk about Brawl the Wild 1.0 because we're calling our coverage this week 2.0. That means a 1.0 had to happen. And we're in Bozeman for a specific reason. That's because the Cats, of course, beat the Grizz in Missoula for the first time since 2017. It had been a long time. And they won 31-28. From a Grizz perspective, Sean Rainey, how did they take the Grizz? How did they take what they learned in Missoula and transfer it and apply it and hopefully get out a win here in Bozeman?
Well, I really think that Montana and their fans kind of came away from that game with some confidence despite the loss. And we were treated to a great game. It was back and forth. It was hard hitting. It was both teams playing well. The ball just kind of bounced the Cats' way a couple times. And I think that's what makes this matchup so intriguing is it is pretty even, and you're not sure which way the ball is going to bounce. You can't control that. You can't predict that. So I think there is that mystery into how the game is going to go, and I think that's what makes tomorrow so exciting.
Yeah, no, this game could very well come down to who has the ball last on Saturday afternoon. And on the Montana State perspective from Brawl 1.0, I think it was their best, most complete game they had played all season long. Complementary football really at its finest. Offense, defense, special teams. They did what they had to do to get the job done in a hostile environment. And I like the aggressiveness that Coach Vegan showed on that final drive, going for it there on fourth down to ultimately ice the game and bring home that Great Divide trophy.
And I think all of Montana just relieved to see a close game last month. And hopefully we get round two, another close game, because this rivalry has been kind of staple of this rivalry has been blowouts this entire decade. So hopefully we get a good one tomorrow. We're going to take a quick break here on Nonstop Local after we go 360 here at 6:30. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk about keys to the game. We're going to talk about home field advantage. Boy, is it tough to beat the Bobcats in Bobcat Stadium, and so much more, folks. Keep it right here. You're getting you ready for the Brawl of the Wild 2.0. It is Montana. It is Montana State. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back, everyone, to Bozeman, Montana, the site of the, 125th playing. Not technically a rivalry game, but you get it. It's the 125th time Montana and Montana State have played. By the way, the first time since 1913 that these two schools had played twice in a season. They did that a lot in the late 1800s, early 1900s. It's now been over 100 years since they played together twice. So is it hard to beat a team twice, Sean Rainey? That's the question we have for you tonight.
And that's one of those sports cliches you always hear, right? I think it's just something that everyone says, well, it's hard to beat a team twice. Is it, though? I don't know. I think we just say these sports cliches all the time. So we did some digging to find out if it is actually true. Take a look.
With the rematch in Bozeman, there's a phrase being thrown around a lot this week. You've probably heard it at the water cooler at work. It's hard to beat a team twice. It's one of those sports phrases we hear all the time, but is it actually true? Well, I did some digging to try and find out. Now let's start with the Cats' history of the repeated game. It hasn't happened much since joining this level, just twice in fact. In 2022 against Weber State and last year versus Idaho. In both instances, the Cats won both games, with the second matchups being wider margins of victory than the first. And for Montana, it has occurred 9 times. Of the 9 games, 8 of those were split, so it's hard for either team to win twice. Montana is also 0-5 in those rematch games on the road. The last time it occurred for the Grizz was back in 2021. They would drop their regular season game to Eastern Washington 28-34, but when the two teams met up in the postseason, it was Montana coming out on top. Now, how does this compare to other FCS schools? Well, let's take a look at familiar foes for the Cats and Grizz from the Missouri Valley Conference in South Dakota State and North Dakota State. The Bison and Jackrabbits have faced each other twice in the same season, 6 times. North Dakota State has had the upper hand, sweeping 4 times, while South Dakota State only swept once, and only 1 draw has occurred. But compared to the FBS level, playing twice in the same season is a bit rare at the FCS level. Since 2000, the FBS has had 2 teams play each other twice in the same season, 82 times, 45 being sweeps and 37 being split. This season alone, 6 of the 9 conference championships saw rematches from the regular season, and 1 rematch is set for the college football playoffs when Alabama and Oklahoma take the field. So while it may be hard to beat a team twice, history shows it's been done before. For SWX, I'm Adam Rodriguez.
So, do the Grizz fans watching that, do they have confidence, Sean, or they're like, it's all over?
No, I think it's one of those phrases where you look at all the history and you're like, and if you're a Grizz fan, you're like, yeah, it's definitely hard to beat a team twice. And then if you're a Cats fan watching that, you're like, it's not that hard. That's what I took from it.
There you go. And speaking of why it might be hard for the Grizz to pull off the road win tomorrow, is because this home field advantage behind us has been growing over the last 10 years or so. The Cats are putting it all together in Bobcat Stadium.
Yeah, and perhaps the biggest thing to come out of Brawl 1.0 was the winner getting that home field advantage, and it was Montana State. And when we look at the Bobcats, they just simply don't lose here in Bozeman. I mean, we had Tommy Malott on the show earlier this morning. He said he had one home loss. In his
that was
career
wild when he
here
said
in Bozeman.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's almost unfathomable. 50-2 in their last 2 games. And then you look at Montana State in the playoffs here at Bobcat Stadium, 18-4 playoff record inside of that stadium right there. So it's tough for these teams to come on the road. That's why it was so important for the Bobcats to win in Wagriz earlier this year. And I was able to talk with Adam Jones and Caden Dowler earlier this week about just how important it is that this semifinal game is played here at home.
Yeah, pretty excited. You know, anytime we get to strap it up with these guys and play in Bobcat Stadium, you know, it's going to be an awesome opportunity and a cool environment to play in.
Playing in Bobcat Stadium, I think we do get an advantage with that. You know, it was really hard to play over in Missoula, and I think they're going to see how hard it is to play here. And I think just playing in front of our fans is something we don't take for granted. So.
And, you know, the bigger the game, the bigger the atmosphere, the louder Bobcat Stadium is going to be. And in these big-time games, Montana State just simply shows up at home. They do a good job at getting off to these fast starts, getting the lead, keeping that crowd engaged and making it 10 times harder, 100 times harder, whatever you want to say it, for this away team coming into Bobcat Stadium. And I think this will probably be the most hostile environment that the Grizzlies have played in this season.
Grizz win the coin toss tomorrow, Sean?
You take the ball and you try and score. Home teams in the semifinals have not lost since 2016, 27-5 since 2007.
So you hear all those numbers. How do the Grizz pull it off tomorrow?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tough, but they have some playmakers and they have the ability to do it. Here are my keys to the game for what it's worth. Michael Wortham, he's got to get it done. Number 6, got to do that signature touchdown dance in Bobcat Stadium if Montana is going to pull off the win. And then we got L&L Island, not Love Island. We're going L&L Island. Kenzel Lawler, Keon Loud, the 2 L's, the 2 quarterbacks for Montana. They've been playing really good football, especially now with Keon Loud back. It really changes this defense. Go on an island, make Montana State and their outside wide receivers beat you, and use those islands to bring extra safeties in the box to stop the Montana State running game. And then Silver. Ty Morrison, he's been the kicker all year, doing field goals and extra points. He's struggled as of late. He had the block kick in Missoula in Brawl the Wild 1.0. Joe Silver's taken over. He's hitting the ball really well, and if you're going to pull off an upset on the road and try and make it 50-3 for Montana State in the last 53, I think Silver's got to make a kick or two.
Yeah, and if you're Montana State, right, playoff football, it's all about how you run the football. And Montana State has done a good job running the football. So one of my keys is going to be dominating the trenches, starting with that offensive line. 3 All-America selections there. If Julius Davis and Adam Jones can start running behind that line, they establish the ground game early. I think that'll be very beneficial for the Bobcats. And also, too, protecting Justin Lamson. That's always key in terms of protecting your quarterback. And then defensively, Paul Brock, Kenny Ide, and Alec Eckert, they've been a force all season long. Most experienced group for Montana State. They need to get after a yacht, which leads into my next point in creating sacks and forcing turnovers. Speed up a yacht, create a couple of sacks, get that Montana offense behind the sticks a little bit. We saw how crucial that one lone interception was in Brawl 1.0, completely flipped that game in terms of momentum things. And then my final key point, limit the explosives. We've seen it out of the Grizzlies all season long, how dynamic this offense can be, but they're really limited. Eli Gilman had that big run at the end of the game, but outside of that, they did a great job, the Bobcat defense, of just keeping everything in front of them, limiting that explosive plays, and they did a great job on Michael Wortham, too. I'll be interested to see if they can contain him as well as they did in that first matchup.
Well, folks, we asked, our entire team asked you this week to deliver us your best fan videos and photos. And as we head to break, we really enjoy these. Please keep sending them in. We'll continue to run them over the next 24 hours here on Nonstop Local. Regardless if you're a Cat or a Grizz fan, it is a holiday for the state of Montana tomorrow. We're taking a quick break here on Nonstop Local. We'll be right back after this.
Time for Brawl 2.0 fan photos, sponsored by Bridger Animal Nutrition.
Welcome back, everyone, to Gallatin Valley. Okay, now time for predictions. I'm going to just lead things off and then let these two guys cook. I think the Grizz pull it off tomorrow, 35-24. That is going to be my score. Montana going to the national title game. Sean Rainey.
Well, I get a little disclaimer, okay? I'm going to make mine weather dependent. And I don't think we're going to get, snow or precipitation. But if we do get wind, I think that I would take Montana State 28-24. If we don't get wind, I'm going Montana 31-28. Does that score sound familiar?
It does.
TJ Roush gets a tip ball interception for a touchdown late in the third that changes the game.
Dom Delfidio.
I'm going to go 28-23. I think the defenses make just enough minor adjustments to contain the offenses a little bit more in this second playing of the Brawl. But I like Montana State to pull out the win 28-23.
They might change by tomorrow morning, folks. You're going to have to tune in for our entire coverage. We're going to have Tommy Milott and Marcus Wellnell joining us. Taking a quick break here on Nonstop Local. Kyrie Leasing has your Brawl forecast. We'll see you tomorrow morning, folks. Have a good night.